You think rich people buy more. They don't. They stop buying almost everything you bought this week. And one of these 7 things you're probably about to buy again tomorrow without even noticing. Not the big stuff. Not vacations, not watches, not the car everyone assumes. 7 ordinary things, small ones. The kind you've bought so many times you don't even register the price anymore. By the end of this, you're going to recognize at least 4 of them in your own bank statement. Right now, you're normal. Painfully, statistically normal. You make a decent living. Not rich, not broke. The kind of income where the money comes in on the 1st and 15th, and somewhere around the 27th you're checking your balance before you tap your card. You've got a coffee subscription you forgot you signed up for. A food delivery app open on your phone right now, probably. A drawer somewhere with 3 chargers for phones you don't own anymore. You're not doing anything wrong. You're doing exactly what almost everyone does. That's the whole problem. Somewhere out there, someone your exact age, your exact income, is quietly cutting 7 specific expenses out of their life. Not because they're cheap, but because they already know something you're about to find out. $4.85. That's what the daily small treat was costing you. Coffee, a snack, a delivery fee tacked onto a $12 lunch that somehow became $19 after tip and tax. You do the math once out of curiosity, and it stops you cold. $4.85 a day is $1,770 a year. Not hypothetical money, real money, already spent, already gone, on things you can't even remember eating. So you cut it. Not dramatically. You just stop. The first week is weirdly hard. You reach for your phone to order lunch at 12:04 p.m. out of pure muscle memory, then put it back down. The lesson lands quiet, not loud. It's never the big purchase that keeps you poor. It's the one so small you stop noticing it was a purchase at all. By week 3, you don't miss it. You just have $97 more than you would have had. That's thing number 1. There are 6 more, and the next one costs a lot more than $4.85. You're standing in a store holding a jacket. It's $180. It's fine. It's a nice jacket. It's also the 4th nice jacket you've bought this year, and you already own 3 that look almost exactly like it. You put it back. Not because you can't afford $180. Because you finally noticed the pattern. You weren't buying clothes. You were buying a version of yourself you wanted people to see for 4 seconds while you walked past them. This is the second thing. Buying things to be seen, not to be used. It stings a little more than the coffee did. Clothes feel personal, identity adjacent. Putting that jacket back feels like admitting something. Every purchase you make for an audience is a purchase the audience forgets in 4 seconds. You forget about the jacket by the time you're in the parking lot. You remember the $180 still sitting in your account for the next 11 months. Your friend leases a new car. Not buys, leases. $612 a month, gone, forever, on a car he'll hand back in 3 years owning 0% of it. He shows it to you in the parking lot with a kind of pride usually reserved for actual achievements. You nod. You say it's nice. It is nice. And for exactly 4 days, you think about doing the same thing. You go as far as opening the dealership app. You configure a car you don't need in a color you don't even like, just to see the monthly payment. $589 for a car. You close the app. The lesson isn't don't buy a car. It's this. A car payment is the most expensive way in the world to feel something for 4 days. You keep the car you already own. It's not exciting. It's paid off. Paid off is its own kind of exciting once you understand what it actually means. Then your cousin's wedding happens, and everything you've built in 9 quiet months gets tested in one loud weekend. Everyone's dressed like they're auditioning for a different tax bracket. Someone asks what you drive. You tell them. You watch their face do the small, polite thing faces do when the answer isn't impressive enough. You feel it, that specific, ugly feeling of being quietly measured and coming up short. That night, alone in a hotel room, you open 3 shopping apps in a row. A watch, a jacket, a car configurator, again, the same one from month 9. Your thumb hovers over Buy Now on the watch, $340. You could afford it. That's not the question. The question is why your thumb is even there. You almost do it. You genuinely almost do it. Not because you need the watch, but because for one night, being measured and coming up short felt unbearable, and $340 felt like a fast way to make it stop. You put the phone down, not because you had some big realization, because you were tired, And tired people sometimes make the right call by accident. You don't feel proud. You just feel like you survived something. You open your bank statement and do something you've never done before. You actually read every line of the subscription section. 14 of them. 14 recurring charges, totaling $211 a month for things you use maybe twice a year combined. $211 a month is $2,532 a year. That number sitting quietly on a screen is more than what most people save all year on purpose. This is the fourth thing. Paying monthly for convenience you never actually use. You cancel 11 of the 14 in one sitting. It takes 19 minutes and feels disproportionately satisfying, like cleaning out a closet you forgot was cluttered. 12 months in, and the account that had $0 of intention behind it now has $4,900 that didn't exist a year ago. You didn't get a raise. You didn't win anything. You just stopped bleeding out in 14 small, invisible cuts. Somewhere around this point, the money stops being the interesting part. You notice it first in conversations. Someone's describing their new furniture set, the payment plan, the 0% APR for 18 months, and you're nodding, but internally you're doing math they're not doing. You've started seeing prices as monthly obligations instead of single moments. You don't say anything. You've learned that saying anything makes you the annoying one at the table. Your friend group hasn't shrunk. It's just quietly rearranged. The people who used to text you about a new drop, a new deal, you have to see this. Those conversations get shorter, not cold, just shorter. Your cousin, the one who leased the car, asks you once, almost defensively, "So what? You just don't buy anything anymore?" You tell him that's not it. You just stop buying things to answer questions nobody actually asked you. He laughs it off. You laugh too. But you both know something shifted, and it's not about the car. This isn't about being better than anyone. It's about noticing that most spending is just an answer to a question you were never asked. You almost buy a bigger apartment. Not because you need the space, because a coworker mentions their new 2-bedroom, their walk-in closet, and something in you flinches and says, "You should have that too." You go look at one. It's $2,100 a month. Your current place is $1,350. The math is simple and brutal. $750 a month extra for closet space is $9,000 a year for a feeling that lasts about 6 weeks before the new place just feels like your place again. This is the fifth thing, upgrading your life to match a feeling instead of a need. You stay in the $1,350 apartment. It's not glamorous. Nobody posts about their apartment they didn't upgrade. But $9,000 a year, redirected instead of spent, is the difference between a retirement account that grows and one that never starts. A coworker corners you at lunch, whispering about a coin that's about to blow up. Another one shows you a stock he put half his savings into last week based on a video he watched twice. You almost do it too. Not the coin. Something like it. You get as far as downloading the app, funding it with $2,000, and staring at the buy button for 11 straight minutes. This is the sixth thing, chasing speculation dressed up as investing, because boring, steady growth doesn't feel like enough. You delete the app instead. Not because speculation never works, because you finally understand the difference between building something and gambling on something, and you'd spent 3 years building. Every year you didn't chase the shortcut was a year the slow thing kept compounding without you interrupting it. Every year you didn't panic sell was a year the slow thing kept compounding without you noticing it. Every year you didn't gamble the base was a year the slow thing kept compounding into something real. $2,000 stays exactly where it was. Boring, growing, untouched. This is the one that stings the most because it's not really about money at all. You stop buying things to fix a bad day. The bad mood Amazon order. The "I deserve this" purchase after a hard week. The retail therapy that isn't therapy. It's just spending with better branding. You catch yourself doing it. Cart full, $67 of stuff you don't need. Finger over the checkout button at 11:40 p.m. on a Tuesday because work was hard and you wanted to feel like you'd won something. You close the cart. This one's harder than the coffee, harder than the jacket, harder than the coin. Because this purchase was never about the item. It was about needing to feel like something in your life was under your control. You go for a walk instead. It costs nothing. It doesn't fix the bad day either. But the $67 stays in the account, and slowly you start fixing bad days with things that don't have a price tag at all. That's the seventh thing. All 7, now, permanently gone. Here's where it stops being about discipline and starts being about math. Over 5 years, you redirected roughly $18,400 a year. The coffee, the clothes, the car payment, the subscriptions, the apartment upgrade, the speculation, the bad day spending, combined, invested consistently, at a return that isn't flashy, just average. By year 7, the account isn't $128,800, the simple sum of what you put in. It's $167,300. That gap, $38,500, you didn't work for. You didn't earn it in a promotion, didn't win it, didn't hustle for it on a weekend. The money made it. While you were at your actual job, while you were asleep, you put in $18,400 that year. The account returned $22,100 on its own. For the first time, the machine outworked you. By now, the numbers stopped feeling real, in the good way, $312,000. You didn't change your income dramatically. You didn't inherit anything. You didn't get lucky on a coin because you deleted that app 7 years ago. You just stopped buying 7 things, redirected the difference, and let 10 years happen without interrupting it. If you'd quit at year 1, cashed it out, gone back to the coffee and the lease and the bad day Amazon orders, none of the next 9 years compound. The $312,000 simply never exists. It was never guaranteed. It was earned by the years you didn't touch it. $18,400 a year got you here. This year alone, the account itself generated more than that number, without a single new dollar from your paycheck. The machine isn't outpacing your effort anymore. It's replaced it. None of this was ever really about the 7 things. It was never about coffee, or a jacket, or a car, or a coin. It's about the fact that most people spend their whole life buying small relief instead of building slow freedom. And the two things feel identical in the moment they happen. You don't need to be rich to stop buying these 7 things. You need to stop buying them before you're rich, which is the part almost nobody wants to hear. Ordinary income spent extraordinarily on purpose beats extraordinary income spent like everyone else. That's the whole secret, and it was never actually a secret. Somewhere tonight, you're going to open an app, order something, subscribe to something, or upgrade something you don't need. You get to decide right now if you're the version of you from day 1, or the version 10 years further down this exact same road. Stop buying small relief. Start buying slow freedom. If even one of these 7 hit a little too close to home, that's exactly why you should subscribe, because the next video breaks down exactly where to redirect that money so it actually starts compounding instead of just sitting there, and you don't want to miss it. Hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and drop a comment with the number 1 through 7 of the one you're cutting first.